Hi everyone, welcome back. In this tutorial, we will cover the drag offset action. Drag offset actions are a way for us to set specific drag steps using machine actions when entering or exiting a specific machine state. For example, this will allow us to ensure that the carousel item which is shown when entering our menu will always be the first carousel item. Using the drag offset action, we can set the initial step to 0, which is the first carousel item. Let's dive into the machine editor and learn more on how we can use drag offset actions. In the machine editor, we're going to go to our settings panel and scroll all the way down until we find the drag offset actions section. We're going to click the add button to add a new drag offset action. I'm going to call this drag offset action initial carousel. The layout, of course, will be our carousel layout, and the element will be our grid element. I will keep offset as 0, since it is our first carousel item. And I do want this to be an instant drag offset action, so there is no animation being shown when the carousel loads during the menu state. Next, I will select the carousel state from our hierarchy, and in the node properties, I will add a new entry action. This entry action will be our initial carousel. Now, moving over to our view panel, we can then click on the game event to switch into the game state and then return back to our menu state. And if we attempt to swipe to the left, we can see that we cannot, because we are currently on the first carousel item. And just to make sure, yes, there are 2 more carousel items afterwards. So now I am on the last carousel item. If I were to switch to the game state and then return back to the menu, we have initially started again on the first carousel item. Now let's add the additional drag offset actions, which will allow us to trigger the transition between carousel item 0 to carousel item 1, 2, and then back to 0. I will click the add button in the drag offset actions and add a new drag offset action called carousel 0. The layout will be the carousel layout, the element will be our grid, and the offset will be 0. The difference between this carousel 0 and initial carousel is that we will not set the instant boolean here. Then I will add another one for carousel 1 using layout carousel, grid element, and offset 1, and then another for carousel 2. Carousel layout, grid, and offset 2. Next, we need the states in which these drag offset actions will be triggered. With the carousel machine state highlighted in the hierarchy, I'm going to add 3 children states to our carousel. The first will be item 0. The second will be item 1. And last will be item 2. Let's set our carousel's initial state to be item 0. I'm then going to go to the item 0 child state, and for entry action, I will use carousel 0. For item 1, I will use carousel 1, and for item 2, we will use carousel 2. Now when these steps are active, our carousel should automatically drag itself to the correct carousel item according to the drag step. But how do we transition between these states? Well, let's set up an auto rotation system on a timer. Let's go to our wait services here and add a new wait service. I will call this carousel wait, and I will set the delay to 2 seconds. We will then go to our item 0 in our hierarchy, and then scrolling down our node properties, we will go to the services section and add a new service. The service we will invoke will be our wait service, carousel wait. And once this service has finished running, which means once the delay has ended, we will transition to the next state, item 1. Next, we will do the same for the item 1 child state, adding a new service, invoking the carousel wait service, and then transitioning to item 2. And the same for item 2, adding a new service, invoking the carousel wait service, and then transitioning back to item 0. You'll notice in the hierarchy panel, the active state for our carousel child states are currently rotating already. If we were to go to the view panel, we can see our carousel is currently automatically rotating, thanks to the drag offset actions and our wait service. Drag activities and drag offset actions are extremely powerful features when it comes to creating interactable UI elements and states within your game production. I highly encourage you to experiment with drag activities and drag offset actions when creating high-fidelity interactive elements. I also highly recommend that you subscribe to the Quicksave YouTube channel and stay up to date with our documentation website where you can find more tutorials just like this. Thank you for watching. See you again next time.